It's starting. Hello, my little creatures. Hello, everyone. Hello, my little babies. Thank you for being part of Lugal's world. Today we have the most amazing, brilliant astrologer, Julian from Olympus. He's an astrologer of the gods, yeah. We're going to be looking at the most amazing individual, Donald Trump, the Trumpnator, the God Emperor himself. We'll be uncovering all the mystical tarot and astrology reading together. So buckle up put on your esoteric helmet and get ready for the juicy details of his incarnation here. So Julian, why don't you tell us a little bit about this man's chart and tell us about, his incarnation here and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trump has a pretty notorious chart after his presidential campaign. Most people a lot of astrologers at least know that he's got Regulus on the ascendant, which is the star of the king. That's actually why Colin's channel is called Lugal, is because Colin has that star as well, and so do I. So all three of us have this star, Regulus. And the ancient name of that star is Lugal, which literally means king. So there is this element of Donald Trump's power, which is really quite a fascinating one. He was also born on an eclipse cycle, which is not the best. Not the best. That's pretty difficult to be born under an eclipse cycle usually. And he also has Jupiter in a trine with his sun, which is in the 10th house. So that's obviously a massive marker of wealth, because his sun, which is about the sun, the sun in the sky, is about authority and fame and success and gold, riches. And that is in a trine, a positive aspect with Jupiter, which is the planet, literally is the planet of good luck. And it's in the career houses. So it's, of course, he's this big, wealthy businessman, and he's very, very powerful, and then even becomes the president at one point, which is pretty remarkable. He has an interesting chart because he's got Mars in what's called the sacred zone of Leo, or the heart of the lion, which means that he has some spiritual trespasses. So he's not 100% kosher. And because it's Mars, it's through anger. His issue in life, his vice that he has to overcome, is anger or rage, which is pretty fascinating. He was born, I think, 2 hours before a lunar eclipse, although the lunar eclipse wasn't visible. So you win some, you lose some there, it's actually a good thing that it's not visible. Other than that, I mean, his chart's pretty straightforward. I think I've covered like everything just in those two major aspects of Regulus and then the Jupiter Sun trine. He does have the Pleiades at the top of his chart, which is very interesting because they are, as I've said before, often they are stars of very skilled manipulators, but also sometimes of serial killers. So however you feel about Trump personally, he's got an interesting journey there spiritually, with quite a few tests that are not easy to overcome, and that's more on the personal level rather than the public. So yeah, I mean, I can keep going, but Colin, I think you might have more to add to this because he's our he's our Regulus bro, basically.
So I wanted to also give honor to that beautiful star. That was the star that I chanted to when I had my spiritual awakening. Having said that, let's step in right away and let's go to his curse. So he got the Hermit card as the curse here. You can see the energy from here in this card. This is the Fabio Listrani deck. So we have for the curse, the energy on this card is the Saturn Sagittarius on the Fabulistani deck. There's a getting away from the situation in order to get better insight into it and illumination, things that were in the dark. There is getting in touch with untapped wisdom. I feel like he's spent a lot of different lifetimes kind of running away from things. In this lifetime, he's really grabbing onto the bull by the horns. The negative side is that he's not in touch with his conscience. The inner guide is left. There's like too much extroversion going on. So less introspective, too much pow, too much out there. So there's a self-absorption, ignoring other people's needs. And this is his curse, by the way. So I definitely am going to talk about his blessing and get into the other side of that. I would say that there is a feeling of singleness that he has, a loneliness, that it's like not having enough space for his own personal reflection there. It's almost like you're alone by spending too much time with other people is kind of what plagues his internal, the recesses of his heart. Another psychological analysis from this card is the power of his ability to misunderstand his own values, to directly be confused and kind of alienated from his own conscience. So say this is the negative side of the hermit. So my advice to him or people like him is to go inward, face the shadow, face the demons, get away from other people. He's too damn extroverted. So that's the curse. And you know, so for the blessing here, let me get my notes. So what's fascinating here, we have the unmitigated energy of ideas. This is the Ten of Swords reversed here. So it's a similar energy we got in the King's coronation, funny enough, but this time it was reversed. So this is the Sun in Gemini. It has a Mercurian quality. It shows disruption, the disorder of harmony and stable energy. I think that this is the hilts of the sword that occupies the position of the Sephiroth, that points to 1, 5, and 7, and 9 touching. Scattering the central sword of the 6, which represents the sun, the heart, and the child of Chokma and Bina. The 10th sword is also in splinters. It is the ruin of the intellect, even of mental and moral qualities. And this is talking about this card just in upright. So the reverse, it even takes a more powerful inward kind of moral corruption from the inside out. I would say in the I Ching, there's also that the Sun in Gemini is the virtue of the 43rd hexagram. If anyone wants to look up the wisdom from there, it is the watery modification of the phallus by interlacing interpretation, the harmony of these two same trigrams. The significance is perfectly harmonious with the Ten of Swords. It represents the dampening down of the creative impulse, weakness, corruptions. This is kind of the masculine kind of breaking up the feminine in the worst way. It counsels the rule to purge the state of unworthy officers. So I think there is also on the flip side, there is unworthy, unvirtuous people that are being brought to the surface through Trump. There's a draining of the swamp, as so to say, with his energy. There's a and this is the wisdom from the hexagram. It is also the this is the energy of the god of this card is Apollo, the patron of literature and the arts. The patron of literature and the arts, and there's a double emphasis on water and the sun. So Scorpio, Sagittarius, the fires of Tsulu, Chokma, being the fire of fires here. We're moving on to the blessing card, Knight of Wands. So very beautiful Fabio Lestrani deck here.
Wow.
So this is that fire of fires. The Knight of Wands is the purest manifestation of his element, burning, flaming, enthusiastic, thrilling, a born leader, full of ideas, idealism, proud, commanding. His best, noble, honest, conscientious, and intelligent. This is the blessing that he brings to the table. It's the highest of the worlds, the fire of the highest elements. The Knight of Wands, it stands for inspiration, spiritual realization, and purest creativity. I do feel he's a person of inspiration that taps into a very high and lofty source of the fire. I feel that he has the noble and true depths of the fire elementals, of the fire, what all the things that represents. But the problem is that it lacks the water and the stability of the earth, which analyzes the logic of air. So his strength might degenerate into pure tyranny on the flip side. His convictions stifle to dogmatism. He is cruel, a bigot, and brutal at his worst. And I'm reading what the esoteric sources say. I'm literally just reading it. Further, the fires lack the source of reserve potentials. So once the explosion is over, there is nothing more left for the knight to provide. And mind you, I don't pick the cards, like I literally just shuffle them and then pick the one. It's yeah. So an expansion, a lot of expansion energy, despotism, egotism, intolerance on the shadow side of his blessing, but inspiration, spiritual activity, and strong will for the flip side. So that concludes the my reading here. I think everyone. Do you have any ending words and conclusion?
That's really fascinating. Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense. I would just say, the blessing of Mars, right, that he's got there in his chart is this courage to go to war, right? The boldness, the impetus. I mean, it's literally pretty much that card, isn't it? I mean, it's the same energy at the very least. That he's definitely a Mars person. You can even just see it in his face. His face is red all the time. And yeah, that gives, I mean, he has had to face a lot of opposition. So he's also kind of needed that energy and that drive to overcome it. So there's two sides to the story there as well, which is very interesting.
In conclusion, he who lives by the sword will die by the sword. Like, this will be his end, unfortunately.
Poor old Trump.
Definitely have compassion on all beings. So, in conclusion, I thank everyone who joined Lugal's world here. Please comment what you think about his blessing, his curse, what you think about our readings, and just share whatever you want. Like, I really encourage you to go and use the code Lugal and book. Find out why you're here on Earth. What's happening in this incarnation? Book Julian right now. The energies are going to just hit you in the most beautiful way. I mean, he's got this kind of life and vigor that he takes to the esoteric studies. And what's even better than that is doing my reading with his, because you not only get the tarot, but you get the astrology at the same time. And both of us kind of complement each other. I'm ENFP, he's INFP. Two different sides of the spectrum. Get all your nutrients. Get all your
two different sides of the autism spectrum.
Get all of those esoteric vitamins. Take your occult vitamins today.
Absolutely.
So, shalom, my little babies, my little creatures. Go and scurry away. Till next time.
Scurry away. Bye-bye. Scurry away.
Gotta stop.